Let's look at the quiz game sample. Never use the main form. If you want to change things, you have to create sense in the program. It's only there with a great warning to say don't touch me. If you want to update the starter kit in your games, don't change files from the starter kit. Just copy them or inherit from their classes. To understand how the game works, I have to show you three things. The first one is the constant, the settings of the template, the starter kit. You have many commands in the original source, of course. When you create a game, you have to copy some files in a folder and customize them. The settings are in uconst file. The scene are managed by the uscene unit from the starter kit. It works with a global, I'll say variable, but it's more a class. To change scene, you have to update the value from current property of the scene class. The values are available in the constant with other settings. Just add the screens you want or remove the screen from the template. In this case, I have a splash screen. The exit and none are needed by the program. A menu, game, game over, and credits. The order of the screen is not important. Each screen, each scene is auto-created. When you create a scene, you have to inherit from the ancestor, here, the scene ancestor from the starter kit, and create your file. Let's see the splash screen. When you inherit from the scene ancestor, you have a new class name, of course, and you need to add the factory in the initialization block of the unit with the subscribe to scene factory message. When the program needs to show a scene, it broadcasts this message with the name of the scene. Each unit has to register for its class. In my case, the splash screen look for scene type splash screen value, and it creates the class scene splash screen. Each scene is a T-frame, not a form. The ancestor is a frame with nothing on the form. You have 5 methods to override. The translation are done with the translate text virtual method. Override it in your scene. Translate the text you have on screen in this method. You have before first show scene, hide scene, and after last scene to initialize or finalize things for your scene. Before first is called only the first time we show the scene. Show scene is called each time we show a scene. Hide scene is called each time we hide a scene, and after last hide is called in the destroy of a scene instance. The translation are done by the translate text method from the ancestor, but it's empty because I don't have any text in it. The show scene of the ancestor subscribe to translate text message. The translate text message is broadcast by the utranslate unit, which is used every time we change language of the program. In the starter kit, we have a uconfig unit which manage the settings of the game, the settings and all parameters the user can change. In my case, I have by default the background music on off, the volume of the background music, sound effect on off, the volume of sound effects, the activity or not enabling or not virtual controls on screen. The starter kit doesn't do this, it's your task as a developer to add virtual control on your screen, and we have the language chosen by the user of the game. By default is the system operating language. In the template I have also other elements like buttons, dialog box, and other things will be added with the same behavior with an ancestor which is integrated in the starter kit. The health bar you can see on screens is managed by this unit, and I also have an about box shown on screen if the user press F1 or if we are on Mac, because on Mac we have always a menu for every program, even if it's on full screen. The UI elements manage the interface, user interface, and the moves with the keyboard or the game controller. Go back to splash screen, and before that, the background screen. In this game, I simply added the Dev Days of Summer background as a background image. The scene background is called by the main form on startup. It's shown in the background by default of each scene. You can add other background. The splash screen. It's an empty frame with a layout and a rectangle. The rectangle is used in this sample for a back progress bar with simply a value, its width, change during 3 seconds in a thread activated in the show screen. When the time is over, the program, the thread, change the current value of the scene and go to the menu. The current scene, hide current scene, the splash screen, try to get the new scene, the menu scene, from a list of scenes. If it find it, it show it. If not, it broadcasts the factory message to auto-create the scene. The menu, subscribe to the factory like any scene, create its instance, change the parent to main form, the application main form, and register the scene in the tscene. The register shows the scene by changing the current value. The scene units don't have to use these other scene units. The files are totally independent from each other. The scene menu has 3 buttons, frame buttons, in a layout centered. I override 2 methods, show scene and before first. The before first change the size of size and settings of the help bar used on every scene. It's a component stored in the main form, but it will move to the data module in the future. Don't use it directly, use tlbarmanager.current. So the before first show scene is executed only the first time, and after that we have the show. Each time we open the menu, we change the on-click value of each button. I could have done that in the screen directly here. After that, I register the buttons in the UI elements unit by the add control method. And each component, each button, has a top control, right control, bottom control, and left control. It uses to move the selector with the arrow keys and the gamepad direction pad. The control can be the default control with the focus by default. It's the case for the first button. And we have an escape or the cancel control. In my case, the quit button if it's displayed in the screen. I don't show it on iOS or Android. After that, I fill the help bar with icons from KennyNL. In my case, I add items here with an icon for the keyboard, an icon for the game controller. If the engine detects a game controller connected, it shows the game controller icons. If not, the keyboard icons are shown. And the add item can add an icon for each or an icon for each and a text. For this screen I have 3 buttons. The quit button is execute the change of current scene to exit. It's managed in the main form, and the main form do a close from itself. With this subscribe in the after construction of the main form. For the play button, I simply start a new game in the tGameData default GameData class, and I change the current screen to a game scene. For the click on the credit button, I simply change the scene to credit scene. The starter kit has a tGameData class and unit with a class tGameData and a default instance for this class. Of course, you can create your own if you want. The default instance manages the score, level, lives, user pseudo for current player. Of course, if you have a game with 2 or more players, you have to inherit from this class or create more than one instance if you want. The class knows if the game is paused, currently playing or not. It manages the saving of the game as a game data in a file or in a stream. When we use the user interface, we have to start a game or continue a game. Start, clear the data and initialize the default values. Continue game, use the current game data. Pause, stop the game, but don't erase anything. Stop game, stop the game, and erase the is paused property. If you use pause is true. If you use stop is paused, stay at false. In the sample starter kit main menu, you have different values, play, continue, and other things to understand how this works. Go back to the scene menu. We show the 3 buttons and what they do. Now, let's see the credit screen. The credit screen is an empty frame with a show message frame. The show message frame is declared somewhere here with some rectangles and a button, a close button, a text in a vertical scroll box, and the scene credit use this frame with an initialization in show scene. When I initialize it, I affect the button back click to the close button of the show message. I add a control, the close button, to the UI items list with nothing on top, left, right, bottom, with the focus by default, and as the cancel button. and I add in the help bar only one icon for the for closing the screen. Of course, I initialize the text of the CAD show message. The show message frame. As I said, it's only a mask with some components and values to personalize. In my case, the show message inherits from dialog box background. Dialog box background is only the background of the dialog box with an array for the buttons and the vertical scroll box. The show message add a text in the vertical scroll box and a close button in the buttons array. Using frames and inheritance is very powerful. The dialog box has nothing as code, it's only a frame with something on screen. The show message has only the change of the close button 8, but it's not really important. So in the credit scene, when I use the show message frame, I resize it and I fill the event and the text. We saw the scene menu has 3 buttons, the show message has a close button. The buttons are frames, in my case. The buttons are descendant of the TCAD button. The TCAD button is here. It manages the down, up states and the focus. To translate text and have the good buttons on screen, because it's better to have play, credits, quit on the user interface in the form designer than XXX we change in code. Like if I use directly the C button, I created a button for each text in this sample. If I want to translate the text, each button has its own translate text method. We need to translate all text on the screen. The better way is to translate each button text in the button itself. You override the translate text and it's automatic. The translation is raised by the C button and it's do translate text method, which is registered to the translate text message here. Like I did with the scene ancestor. Just to finish with the buttons. The button has a look, a design, and in the code we have is focused, is down, is up, text. All paint are done in the refresh method. And in this case, the paint is showing or hiding layout. We saw the splash screen menu and credit screen. Now we look at the play scene. The scene has a layout for the question and the answers, and a label here. In fact, a T-text, because the T-text is not style, instead of the T-label component. The layout has a grid panel layout for the 2 buttons. The 2 buttons are CAD buttons frames. To draw something, I have a rectangle on the top of the layout and a vertical scroll with the text question like in the show message dialog. In my case, the vertical scroll has no interest. I could have put only the text question in the array because I show it as client, not in top of other things. For the code, we have a little more than in other scene. The first one before first show scene. Change the size of the label score and lives and text question. I do it only one time because I multiply the current size by 2. Of course, if I call it each time I show the question, it could be a little too big. The show scene is like the others. I show the score and the live number on the screen, so I subscribe to score change and live number change. The game data don't need to know where to show the values. It's broadcast a message, I subscribe to the two message, and I call the refresh score and lives to show the default value of the score and the lives. I add user item on the screen. In that case, I add ghost item, non-visible, to exit the game with escape key on the keyboard, hardware back for Android, or X button for the gamepad. This element is not linked to another visual component. I also have two buttons on the screen. This one and this one. Left button, right button in the code. The left button is added to the user interface items list with a button on its right. The right button is added with the button left at its left. So I can move with the gamepad or the keyboard arrows from a button to another. I open the help bar and show the arrow left and D-pad left or arrow right and D-pad right to move the button selected, or to move the focus, in fact. The spacebar or A button from the gamepad to select something and exit when I use escape or X button on the gamepad. I play a sound when showing the screen with the T-sound effect play method and the start game sound effect. I'll show you just after that. When I show the scene, I ask the first question, which fill the text and the button. We'll see that just after the end of the methods. We show the scene, we hide the scene. When we add subscriber to message, we unsubscribe in the hide scene. The questions. When I ask a question, I choose a question in my list. As you see, we have many choices possible and some maths. For example, the first one, the question has text, the answer linked to the button, and the on-click of each button say if it's a good button or the wrong button, good or wrong answer. Of course, you can automate this from a database, get a question from an internet or other source. The question is filled on screen. The buttons are linked to the good event, and we don't have to do anything else in the ask a question. The questions are shown on the screen. The user chooses the left or right button, and you go to good answer or wrong answer. The good answer event change the score from the game data, default game data. The writer of score broadcasts a message. The message associated to the tscore change message is called in this class here, and I only refresh the score and lives. The same thing for the lives. Each time the lives or the score in the game data structure is changed, I refresh the text on the screen. So the good answer, I change the score. and I play a sound, and I ask a new question. From the wrong answer, I change the lives number in the game data. If the number of lives is lesser than 1, I stop the game and I change the scene to game over scene. If we still have a lives, I play a song and I ask a new question. It's like we create any classic program in Delphi with events if we want to use the same behavior. The game over screen is simply a show message frame with a close button and a text. It only has the show scene override. Of course, if you have graphical games, arcade or puzzles or other, the code has to be done in the same game. But you can have more than one same game if you want. If you play an arcade game with more than one scene, you have to create only one scene with all universe or a world by scene, for example. You do what you want. For the sounds, you have a sound effect unit in the starter kit, which have to be copied to your folder and customized. Like the scene, I have a sound effect type enum, where you add your song names or the name you want to use in Delphi. And in the code, you have to register the files here. I think I'll change that in the future release, but for now, you copy the file, you add your files in this list. When you need to play a song, you simply use the unit, call tsoundeffect.play, and pass the song, the sound you want to play. And of course, it works for all platforms managed by FireMonkey because I use the TMedia player in the library to play songs. The icons I used in the help bar are drawn by Skia, but not a Skia TSK SVG component, but by a library I created, getSVG file as bitmap with the good scale and in some case with margins. We call getBitmap from SVG, from the unit SVG bitmap manager, where I use a unit which is generated by a program I distribute. This one. It gets all SVG file in a folder and generate a unit with the source file of the SVG in the unit as an array of strings. In this case, I use multi-line strings available in Delphi since Delphi 12 attends. So I don't have a SVG file to include in the installer. They are all in the source code. I generate constant linked in the type enumeration. You can access by the way you want. In my case, I create a function with the ID of the image to use. It calls the bitmap method of Olf SVG bitmap list, which is a unit I share in the library repository from GitHub, which is an image list, not the component image list, but an image list, a SVG image list with the cache for the bitmaps. We can use the class or directly the function which creates the images, or calls Skia to create the images and manage potential margins, the background and other things. In the game, we have a folder with the SVG, we generate the unit from the program, and we have only to create this function by copying the existing one in the starter kit. Use the good style, the good tip, copy the code, and add the register SVG image for the array we declared from the folder. Copy, paste, and replace. With this library, we can do many things, even outside games. You can use the Olskia SVG to bitmap with or without a generator of SVG units to show bitmap in your current VCL or FireMonkey applications. Or of course you can use the TSVG image list from ETA, available on GitHub, and on Getit. I think this time I've shown you all the things for this game sample. We can conclude.